Given that we're living in a world that's severely lacking in integrity, I wanted to create a video today that would help you define it and understand it, and I wanted to give you the practical guidance you need to become a person of integrity, someone that you're proud to be. The truth about who you are in this current stage of your life is defined by what you do when there's no chance of getting caught, when nobody's watching, when nobody's judging. Integrity is when there's no difference between that and having an audience watching you closely, when you are one person at all times. Now, the technical definition of integrity combines three factors: honesty, core values, and undividedness. So in a sense, it's somebody who's truthful, it's somebody who has a strong moral code or set of principles that they live by, and it's somebody who's undivided. They are one person, rather than splitting off into different people depending on the situation. Let's start with honesty. Obviously my favorite topic if you're familiar with my work. It's essentially when what's going on inside you is accurately represented by your words and your actions. When what you believe to be true or know to be true or feel to be true is not represented by your words or actions, then you're being dishonest. This means no lying, obviously. It means not omitting important truths, which is what a lot of people do, is they think of themselves as honest but they hide a lot of the truth. It means no virtue signaling. You either live by it or you don't. You don't just talk about it. There's no hypocrisy, or very little hypocrisy. It means not pretending to be someone you're not, and it means not allowing deceit to occur in front of you, not allowing people to believe something untrue when you know the truth. If you want to figure out how to be more honest and live by your core values, this is your last chance, the week I'm releasing this video, to pre-order my next book, The Naked Truth. You can check out the link above, and next week that gets published. I'm very fucking excited about it. Now, undividedness, another word for that is congruence. One way to think of it is it doesn't matter who's watching you, they're going to see the same person. And it doesn't mean that you're in the same mood all the time or always doing the same things, but a consistency to your character. The way I like to think about it is if somebody was reading your journal, they wouldn't be surprised by what they found. If who you are on the outside matches who you are in secret, then that would be congruence. You're one person. But the third factor is where I really like to focus, and that is core values. Your moral code, your set of principles, your code of honor, whatever you want to call it, the set of guiding values that you wish to live by and that you think other people should live by, that you're proud of when you live by and ashamed when you don't. You like people who live by them, you despise people who don't. These are the things that you have to get in touch with and transform into practical action to be a person of integrity. It's no good just having values, thinking about them, talking about them. You must live by them. Now, a lot of people confuse core values with things that are outside of their control. They might say, for example, that they value money or family. You can't control those things. You can have an influence on them, but they're not really yours to control. The only thing you can really control is your behavior and the intentions behind it. And that's what core values are about. For example, the core value of honesty. I can't control how people feel about me, but I can control how honest I am. Or the core value of respect. I can't control if people respect me, but I can control if I respect them. These are core values. They're things that you can always control no matter what the situation is. What are your core values? Comment below. Let us know what you're working on. If I have time, I'll actually give you some feedback on yours to make sure they fit value criteria and can actually be lived by no matter what situation you're in. Now, I don't think it's possible for a person to have pure integrity, by which they never deviate from their core values. You know, they never tell a lie, they're never disrespectful, they're never irresponsible, they're never cowardly. We're humans, we slip. In fact, the best way to learn about your core values is to analyze the situations where you fail to live by them. So a kind of marker point that I find helpful is 80%. If you're living by your core values 80% of the time, I think you can call yourself a person of integrity. Given that nearly everybody in the world is well below 50%, Most people are living a lie, they're pretending to be someone they're not, or they're desperately seeking to get outcomes and approval, and they'll compromise themselves to do that. You know, so many people are like that to a lesser or greater degree. So if you're someone who's trying your best to live by your core values and you only slip occasionally, that's about as much integrity as a human being can handle. What this means in practical terms is consistently choosing to live by your values despite the temptation to do otherwise. Temptations like results, getting what you want. There'll be times where you can either do the best thing to get what you want or be honest, and you can't do both, or at least you won't believe that you can do both. A person of integrity will choose that honesty even if it means losing that result. Maybe the result is approval from others. Maybe you being you would get a negative reaction. Well, a person of integrity would dive straight into that negative reaction regardless. However, a person of integrity isn't going to try and get a negative reaction. They're just trying to be themselves. The reaction is out of their control. They're not trying to get a positive or a negative reaction. They're just trying to be true to themselves. And your biggest enemy to integrity is what's known as instant gratification. That's the thing that feels good right now. So often living with integrity means doing the hard thing now, the thing that's uncomfortable now. Confronting someone even though it's going to be awkward. Standing up for yourself. Eating the healthy food that doesn't actually taste all that delicious. These are the things that you need to do to live with integrity, and they often kind of hurt in the moment. It feels like you're choosing the least comfortable option. Instant gratification is the most comfortable option. It's the thing that feels good right now, like smoking weed, or masturbating to porn, or lying to someone so that they don't feel bad, or lying to someone so that they'll sleep with you, or just taking that easy money rather than working hard for it. These are all examples of instant gratification. They feel good right now, and this is what most people are driven by, and that's why the world is the way it is. Greed, corruption, neediness, those are all the outputs of instant gratification. See, a person of integrity, once they've been living consistently by it for a while, they become so impressed with themselves, with their own philosophy, that the neediness, the greed, the sense of lack, the fear of missing out, all of that starts to fade away. Whereas somebody who's constantly trying to get that instant gratification becomes a drug addict. They can't get enough of it. They're constantly hungry for more. So they actually feed that addiction rather than satisfying it. The simplest guidance I can give you to living with integrity is do what you know is right rather than what is easy. Now, doing what is right is usually actually quite simple. You just speak your mind, or you eat the healthy meal, or you say no to the offer that would compromise you. But it's not easy. It's emotionally difficult to do. It can be awkward and uncomfortable, maybe even embarrassing, or just physically strenuous, like working out properly. The easy thing to do, there's no resistance to it. You'll get approval for doing it probably most of the time. It's sitting right there. You can just reach out and take it. And so often you have to compromise your values to do this. A person of integrity chooses that hard path so that they have an easy life. A person without integrity chooses that easy option, which creates a horrible life. The Roman emperor and famous Stoic Marcus Aurelius said something about, let's not argue about what it means to be a good man, just be one. So your philosophy, your sense of self, your core values, you have to live by it, not just preach it. In fact, I challenge you, as I had to challenge myself once, don't tell anyone how you should be living or how they should be living. Show them. Be a role model rather than a preacher. We no longer trust our institutions, our politicians, our leaders. We don't trust the media anymore. We don't trust corporations. We barely trust each other. Why? Because no one's living with integrity, or very few people are. Everyone's so greedy and needy and desperate. Most people will do anything to feel good right now, or to get approval, or to make more money. People are constantly compromising themselves, and we now live in a world made of institutions based on this neediness and greed. The only way we're going to change that is if each individual, you and me, start role modeling how people should live. We can't expect the big corporations to change and the politicians to suddenly become honest, because they function in a world that serves them well. The more dishonest they are, the better they do. And that's because of us. That's because we let it happen. It's because we don't demand better. We can't demand anything of them until we get our own house in order. So before you start wishing that other people were more honest or more respectful or more responsible, you've got to look in the mirror and go, am I? I'll finish off just giving you a rundown of my values. Now, this doesn't mean this is how you should live. And in fact, if you copy me, it kind of defeats the purpose. You're supposed to figure out your own values and live by them. Even if you disagree with mine and live in a different way, if I believe that you've come to that conclusion, that code of honor on your own, I will respect it. But I'm going to give you mine because this will help maybe prompt some of you to figure out how to find your own. My first core value is responsibility. This essentially means I must take ownership of my entire life. Everything I do, everything I think, everything I feel is caused by me. Nobody else is to blame. I can't find fault anywhere else. Even if somebody punches me in the face, how I react to that is my responsibility. So I don't waste time blaming them for punching me. I try to focus in on what am I going to do about it that's good for my life. I came to the conclusion that responsibility is one of my values because I can't actually live by any of my other values without it. I have no sense of power until I take ownership of my life. I spent so much of my life being a victim and that didn't work for me. As soon as I switched to being responsible, my whole life changed, and that's why I chose it. Next is curiosity. This was inspired by Socrates when I started getting into philosophy, that classic statement, the only thing we know for sure is that we know nothing for sure. And I came to realize how true this was. Everything I think I know can be changed. There's so many things that I thought was true and I was later proven wrong, and it tells me that I'm probably wrong about everything. And I need to be careful and I need to be learning all the time. Because if I get stuck in a lie or believing a lie, I end up making terrible decisions. So curiosity means always accepting that I could be wrong and always open to better information. My next one is courage. Courage simply means facing your fear. It doesn't mean being fearless because that's not courageous. Courageous means you feel the sensations, the bodily, emotional, physiological sensations of fear, and you go and do the thing that makes them even worse. Now, it doesn't mean doing anything you're afraid of because fear is actually there to stop you doing stupid things like walking in front of a car or picking a fight with a gang member. But most of the time I'm afraid of things that aren't dangerous, and I'm actually afraid of things that mean living with integrity, like confrontations, like starting my own business, like trying to do handstands. Courage is often what's needed to live by all my other values, and I spend most of my life being a coward. I spent most of my life running away from things that are uncomfortable towards things that were comfortable, and all that got me was a very uncomfortable life. When I switched to trying to seek discomfort, from having a cold shower in the morning to confronting anyone I disagree with and everything in between, I feel a deep sense of comfort nearly all the time. The next one is my key, linchpin, keystone, whatever you want to call it, value: honesty. I think each of us have one particular value that guides us better than any others, and it's usually the one you haven't lived by the most. And that was the case for me with honesty. Up until about the age of 25, I tried every other way to make things work for me socially. I tried all the best dishonest tactics, pretending to be someone I wasn't, pretending to be a nice guy, learning seduction, anything I could do to trick people into liking me. And even though it got results, it didn't make me feel good about myself in the long run. Finally, after I exhausted all of those options, I thought, fuck it, I'll try being honest for a while, see what happens. What I instantly noticed was this weight lift off my shoulders. It wasn't long before I didn't have to think of what I was going to say next. I didn't have to worry about getting caught out with anything. I didn't have any doubts whether people liked me or disliked me because I was being me, so that's what they were reacting to. I knew how they really felt about me. But most importantly, I felt my shame lift off my shoulders. All the things I thought were wrong with me, bad, all the things I thought I had to hide, when I started showing them, I realized they weren't that bad. I didn't need to hide them. And once I cleared that list out, there was none of them left. There's no sense now in my body that there's something wrong with me. None at all. I fucking wouldn't change a thing about me. Doesn't mean I'm not working on myself, but working on myself is something I enjoy doing. That's why I do it. But this guy is fucking awesome, in my opinion, my humble opinion. And that comes from being honest. That doesn't come from pretending to be something that's awesome. Next one is acceptance, and of all my values, this is the one I struggle with the most. Acceptance means letting go of what you can't control. As a nice guy people pleaser, I spent a large portion of my life trying to control everything. I got great results to control my lifestyle. I controlled people's emotions. I tried to control my own emotions. I tried to control all the stuff that wasn't mine to control. And because I was kind of good at it, I felt like I could be in control of other things. But the thing is, you never really are. It's an illusion. You have an influence, but anything can change its mind and turn on you. And I came to realize that I'm so stressed out because I'm trying to control stuff that's none of my business. Acceptance is really the counterpart, or the partner of responsibility. Responsibility is focusing on what you can control. Acceptance is letting go of what you can't. I'm still working on this one, but when I get it right, I feel a deep sense of peace and power. And when I get it wrong, I'm stressed, I'm frustrated, disappointed, and sometimes even depressed. And finally, respect. Respect is simply defined as live and let live. That means I set boundaries around who I am. You're not allowed to fuck with that. But I also, in exchange, won't fuck with you. You can be whoever you want to be as long as it doesn't harm me or the people I love. And you've got to give me that same respect. So I'll confront and set boundaries so that nobody fucks with me, but I'll respect when somebody else does it to protect themselves as well. It's a give and take, 50-50 balanced investment. I used to cross people's boundaries and try to control them, and at the same time I'd let other people dominate me. Once I got those boundaries in place, I started to feel a great sense of power and also a kind of sense of understanding and compassion for other people. I just let them live. If they want my help, they can ask for it. If not, I'm going to leave them the fuck alone. And I hope they do the same for me. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to grab the book. The link's below. Subscribe to the channel, comment below, share it around, take various actions that help me promote my shit. I don't care. Do whatever you feel like doing. Live with integrity. How about that? Try that for a week. And I'll see you guys next time.